Welcome to Class Action. I'm Richard Eric Jarvi, simply known as Jarvi.
And I'm your boy. It's PLD. Or Paul DiNuzzo, whatever you like. I'll answer to either, really. Together, we are Class Action, my friend, aren't we? Class Action. Because we're classy guys.
Are we?
Well, sometimes. No, not really.
Yeah, not really, but we like to think so. But the movies we're discussing, they're classy movies sometimes.
Very classy indeed. Always the classiest of movies we discuss.
Tell us a little about what do we actually do on the show.
Yeah, on the show, we're on the Action Industries YouTube channel. That's where we are. First of all, I mean, obviously you're watching us, so you're here. But the Action Industries YouTube channel is the home of all things Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy. They are two of our friends in the world here. We like to salute them. Thank you for giving us our little slice of their website or their YouTube channel. And
Slice of fame.
Slice of fame, that's right. And we take a look at two opposing sides. It could be movies, franchises, personas, viewpoints, characters, anything you want, really. And then we decide which is victorious with the help of 5 custom-made categories in what we like to call the Class Action Brief of the Week.
That's right. And if we do sometimes like an older movie about the Brief of the Week, we don't really review it. But if we're doing like a recently released movie, we'll give a short review, and then we get the Brief of the Week that is inspired by that recently released movie. And sometimes when we don't review a movie, we do something called Off the Cuff or Public Defender. This is something that we will be doing today as well.
Sometimes we do it anyways because we like it.
Yep.
It's our show. We can do whatever we want to do, right?
But that's right. But this week we have video game movies.
Yes,
video game movies. And we will be reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog. That came out. I think it came out last week, actually.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. But we just saw it, and we will be giving a review on that. And we will be doing Public Defender on that. More about that a bit later. And then the Brief of the Week, we will have... What will we put up against Sonic the Hedgehog?
Well, we're going to put up another comic book movie. What the hell am I talking about? Another video game movie. Another recent video game movie. Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Yes, you hadn't seen that before.
I had not seen it before. It was on my queue list. I'm catching up on a lot of the 2019 still. But I was glad to slip it to the front of the queue so I can get this in. So
I think they're like some of our best matched movies so far. I feel like they're so similar in ways, and there's like a lot of stuff that they can go head to head with.
Not quite as good as Kevin Costner baseball movies.
All right. I'll give you that one.
But that's where we are with that. Yeah. So it's gonna be Sonic versus Detective Pikachu. But as I said, when we go right into our we should talk about first. That's right. Action Industries should talk about what they're doing this week. Sunday night will be the Action Guys, which is their new basic for their flagship show of Action Industries. It's a 2-hour stream. They've been doing games on the show recently. They've had guests on the show. I'm not sure who's a guest this week. They haven't announced it yet if there is. But it's good to see them talking about Schmodown, talking about action stuff. It's really a fun show.
Yeah, it's like a freeform show more than the Action Guys was before.
And they're building up more interaction. That's what they're doing.
That's right.
Kind of getting more customer driven, so to speak, as they would say. Of course, and they also do Action Movie Anatomy and the Popcorn Talk Network. That was their first show together, but they're there for 5 years now, I think. Yeah, about 5 years.
Yeah, It's been a while.
Wow, holy shit, that's been a long time. But
I just watched some of their earlier episodes. Oh my god, they're such a hoot. The way they start off shows, it's so funny.
It is quite funny watching them together. I was watching how it's grown to go over 200 plus episodes now. So they actually got to cancel this week because Ben was in vacation, not vacation, Ben was traveling, I should say. And Andrew was sick this weekend. He was, but he bounced back. Good. But enough about them. We're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about us. This guys, the senior staff of Action Industries. Where we're talking about video game movies. So why don't we get right into our reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog. I think before we even talk about the review, we got to at least mention the development of the movie.
Yes,
it's definitely a big to do with this one. I mean, the project has been a long time coming, and then of course we got that first trailer, and everybody freaked. Everybody's like, oh my God, the design it's awful, it's scary, it's creepy looking, and I don't know. My son, my 13-year-old son, was the same thing. This looks awful. I'm like, okay, but I mean,
Yeah, it was the eyes.
yeah, and like the teeth, I think too, or something off about the teeth or something to that effect. I can't. I wish I had to bring it up, but I don't have a picture of it. But
I know it was more like human eyes, because
is that what it
they
was?
weren't like connected in the middle like that. They were just like separate, smaller eyes further apart. You can look up the trailer. I'm
I
pretty
will
sure
have
it's
to do
up
that.
somewhere.
It
Yeah,
is
and
somewhere.
it's definitely not the look of Sonic as he was in the games. Because I grew up on Sonic. Actually, I never played Mario or Mario Kart or Super Mario. I never played any of these. Super Mario or Mario. Mario.
Mario. Mario.
Mario. All right. I played Sonic. Yeah. So this was my jam when I grew up, and I gotta say this is like weirdly a great decision by the studio to go to the drawing board and like come up with a new design.
It's an interesting decision. I will actually counter you in saying this is exactly the opposite for me. I was always a Mario. I was a Nintendo boy, so I did Mario, Zelda stuff. I will say I did Sonic. I didn't play Sonic. I played Sonic at a friend's house, but this is a lot more new to me than the other one was. But this decision by the studio, I both like it and dislike it. I will say I dislike it because I don't think there's a precedent that should be set. Because like a lot of people say, if you keep listening to the fans, you're going to end up being one of them. That's it's a baseball adage, I believe. But if you listen to the fans too much, you're going to be out of a job, and you're going to be amongst the fans because you can't please everybody. But in this case, it seems to be it's one of those like lightning in a bottle things that it actually did work out for it and did happen to improve it. And it ended up being good PR for them overall.
I think it's because they only changed a tiny detail about the eyes. I'm not sure they changed anything else. It's just the eyes, and the eyes were a big thing.
Yeah,
but there were like no other like complaints or anything were taken into account. It was just the eyes. So in that case, like I kind of think it was a great idea.
Okay. Fair enough. It worked. That's I mean, the movie has been successful. It's gotten decent reviews. It's gotten I don't know. I can't remember what the box office was, but it was a pretty decent take. 68 million, I think its first weekend. Something like that.
Oh, was it really that much?
I could be wrong. I should look it up.
Okay, I thought it was like 38 or something, but it could be. It could be.
Let me look that up before I say anything wildly off. Let me see if we can find it here while I'm talking. But while I'm talking, I'll say that let's see. Opening numbers. I don't believe. They're saying, this is bad. This is bad. We'll look it up later
on. This is quality television.
Quality. This is gold. It is gold radio, right? Here,
sorry.
It tops the weekend box office with. And there's no numbers. It just says tops weekend box office. Okay, so I don't know. Either way, let's get back to our saying. Anyway, it was success. It was definitely a success. That's the important thing. But the reviews were kind of funny in terms of they more were like, wow, this was good. Pretty good.
And it was so funny because everyone was surprised. Like, this was good. It's like
it was a backhanded
surprised, you know.
That's the backhanded compliment review. Like, well, it didn't suck. Pretty much is what it was. But how did you feel? Is that how you felt, or did you? What did you think? How did you go into your first thoughts on it?
I wish I saw it like a week before, because I was going into it. I had already listened to a lot of reviews, and Ben Bateman's as well, which he was like, this is so much fun. This is a fun movie. So I went in, I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm in for it. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. And it started off like the first scene, like the introduction to the different world that he was on. I love that. But as soon as he plunged into like the real, like our Earth, it kind of got like, it was a bit of a drag to get started. Honestly, I was like, usually these types of movies, when they start off, I'm like, okay, I love the introduction, I love the build up, and usually the ending is that lets me down. This was quite the opposite.
Okay.
It started off, I was like, all right, this is all right. I kind of have to calibrate myself. And when Jim Carrey came on, I was like, okay, so that's like the good old Jim Carrey. It's like the first few jokes, I was like, all right, I'm trying to get aboard. And then finally, I was like fully on board, and I was like enjoying everything that he said and did. So in a way, yeah. So go ahead, you can interject.
I was gonna say it's funny. It's funny because I had similar experiences. That I went to this movie primarily because my son wanted to go. He is wanted to go, so I was going to go either way. But I was not expecting much until I started seeing those first reviews with like Ben Bateman, Roxy Strides. I even said that was much better. So I went and the same thing. I was like, wow, this is interesting. The beginning is the introduction was kind of cool. It was like I don't remember the lore very much, so like it was kind of like but it showed me enough of what it was. But it went to Earth. I actually kind of liked it slowing down there. Actually, I would counter your argument there a little bit because I almost got I shouldn't even say this, like this is giving the film way more credit than it deserves. But I almost had like this like Spielbergian like innocence about it.
Okay, I do. Yeah, I do see it.
I mean, it's not near.
No. I know what you mean. Yeah. No. It's not comparable, but I know exactly what you mean.
Like until the trigger point of the debate, like you see, you get Sonic living, you see, like you introduce this small town, and it was kind of a nice little thing. But I think it was just slow enough for just the right amount of time. Like if it had dragged on longer, I would have been with you. But then once Jim Carrey came in, yeah, I was hooked for it. I was hooked almost immediately because Jim Carrey hasn't been really Jim Carrey for a while.
He's pretty much like turning into Gary Busey, don't you feel like? He's sort of like flying. He's like already in the atmosphere somewhere. Like almost left Earth, but it's just like on the edge, you know.
I always feel like it was like he's finally come like almost back around. Like this actually was so reminiscent of his earlier roles, like Ace Ventura, his The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, like those really zany out there roles. Although as a villain makes it a little bit different. And I will say it didn't quite reach the heights of that. It wasn't like quite as good, but it was like the best we'd seen in a long time kind of thing. I kind of felt like I was watching a 90s movie for a minute there with Jim Carrey as the villain. And I loved it for it because I was a sucker for those old Jim Carrey movies. I watched them a million times. So I was happy to see even a reminiscence of it. His camaraderie with his lieutenant there, whatever, the Stone Agent Stone. It was exactly what I wanted out of him. I almost feel like he shifted the whole tone of the movie into what you wanted it to be at that point. Like it was like one movie, then all of a sudden I came out like, oh, okay, this is the kind of movie we're gonna do. And it was dangerous because it almost seemed like it could go off the rails at any time. But it was balanced enough by Sonic and Marsden that it made for a good like yin and yang of the movie in a way.
Yeah. I think it's the simplicity of the story that kind of worked and made the movie so sincere. They didn't have to like work so hard to make it like a complex storyline. This is just Sonic is our hero, Dr. Robotnik is the villain. Sonic is fast, Robotnik has gadgets. Just let him fight and just and the lore, like the rings, they were like, I was so curious how they were going to bring the rings in, because pretty much they're just like coins that you gather in the game. But they made them like portals and stuff like that. I was like, wow.
Yeah, you don't use that's not how it happens in the game, right? You don't use
no.
Okay, I didn't think so. I was like,
but it was really cool, and the sound effect where when he gathered, like he gets one, it's like ding. It's like I loved it.
That was very cool. There's James Marsden, who was actually like, I'm not a huge Marsden fan all the time, and I didn't like him as Cyclops that much. I thought he's always kind of stone. I did like him in Westworld a little bit, but beyond that, he's always been kind of like he's all right.
Insert default white dude.
Right, exactly. That's exactly
right.
what it is.
Yeah,
like maybe you can't get Brandon Routh or something. You might get kind of thing. It was okay, and he was a good. He was good for this role because this role didn't need, even though he was like the leading man, he wasn't. That's right. He was more like he just needed to be the cardboard cutout human that Sonic reacted to Sonic in a way. He got to be us, so we could project anything we wanted on him. And he did that role well enough. So, I mean, that was a good thing. But of course, the star is Sonic, and that's what the kids are going to see. And
Sonic, and I feel like Jim Carrey is actually a big pull. Sonic and Jim Carrey, they're like, yeah.
I mean, he's my favorite part, but Jim Carrey was my favorite part.
I have to talk about one part, like at the very end, like the biggest laugh. I like, because usually I just chuckle at because they're kind of like kids' jokes, but you kind of laugh at them, but you don't like burst out laughing. At the mid-credit scene when Robotnik is on the mushroom world,
reconnaissance,
and the only thing that's grown is his mustache. I was like, no, this is so good. Like the entire cinema just like started laughing just because he shaved his head. No other beard has grown. Just his mustache grew out.
I gotta say,
like perfect.
That my son made a good point. Like he said, I wonder if they named that guy Agent Stone just for that joke at the end with the rock, with the big rock. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised.
I didn't get that. So I missed the biggest joke.
It's Agent Stone, Agent Rock.
He had what did he do with the rock?
With the big rock, he had like you like throwing the rock forward, and like it's reconnaissance. Like instead of reconnaissance, it was a rock reconnaissance. So the whole premise, the whole name, he named the character all for that one joke at the end. That's what my son thinks. And I said, you know what? You might be right, buddy.
Your son is way smarter than me.
But the other part of it, I'm not going to lie. I won't argue with you there. But he's smarter than me too, though, half the time, so I can't lie. But my favorite part of the movie, one of my favorite parts that did not involve Jim Carrey, although I gotta get the feeling that some people might start to think that stuff like this is overdone, but I still love it. Is the bar?
Wait. Sorry, I think it's the Queen intro with the song, right?
No, that is actually another favorite part. I was actually going to talk about the bar scene and the speed and like everything slows down. It's Quicksilver in the X-Men movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
That. Yeah, it still amuses me. I don't know, maybe it will get overdone eventually, but it still amuses me quite a bit. I love watching that thing go down. But you're right. Don't stop me now. Every time I hear Freddie Mercury on screen, I kind of sit back and go, yeah. Good choice.
I immediately thought of you when the song came on. Yeah.
So the action was great. The ending was good. Ending was decent. I should mention. I said one other part I actually like the his deputy.
Oh right, yeah.
Guy from Happy Endings, a TV show there. I always liked him in that show too. But he was a good character. He was fun. The dumb Barney Fife type, but it was just there's a lot of those in the movie. A lot of little like insert small roles that just meet
and the general or someone who was also like looked like the president from Hot Shots, kind of almost reminded me of him, like almost on the edge of being totally ridiculous, but kind of like just enough that you still can sort of take him seriously.
Right. Until the Olive Garden thing at the end, they give him the Olive Garden.
What was it? Like, how much did Olive Garden like give the movie? They had to like fund the movie because there was so much Olive Garden stuff.
That wasn't just that. Like, it was a product placement movie. There was a bunch of like times I was like, wow, even again, my 13-year-old goes, well, that's product placement. I'm like, I know. It's so blatantly obvious. But in this kind of movie, it's a video game movie, so you almost kind of expect it. Don't just even when it sticks out, it doesn't stick out too much because it just makes sense for the movie, you know. So
I would say it was a good, like, we have broken the curse of great video game movies. I wouldn't say it's great, but I'd honestly say it's like really good because I had such a fun time. It was. I would even go one further because I gave this a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I had and the simplicity is what made it work for me. You don't need to make these video game movies so complex. Just give us a simple plot, make it fun. It works.
Make it flashy, a little bit of action, a little bit of fun. Yeah, absolutely. That's right. I give it 3 out of 5. It's exactly what I need. Can't say I'm going to watch it again anytime soon, but like if it was on cable, I might not turn it off. I'd probably sit and watch a little bit of it. So yeah, it's fun. Right. It's fun. So. That's where we are at the end of that. Let's get into our next segment, our favorite segment. Well, my favorite segment. There's a favorite actor of this channel, of this show. His name is Ed Harris.
There he is.
Oh, God, I love that man.
He's judging me because I forgot to.
Like you always do. You always do. This segment is what would Ed Harris play? It's such a. I don't even put it in the banner anymore. Notice down there, the little banner, I have that little ticker. I should really put it in there. I don't ever put it in there. Even I forget to put it in there. We're going to do it anyway. So I think it's part of the review. What would Ed Harris play? We take Ed Harris and we insert him into this movie somehow because Ed Harris makes every movie better. You can either replace somebody or you can write a character that would add on and make the story better. So did you came up with one, right? You came up with a humorous one?
I came up with one, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think it might be inappropriate. But you go with yours first, and then I'll go with mine.
Inappropriate? I don't know. We don't want to get canceled, so watch out. But
well, no, it's just I feel like I'm whitewashing.
That's the one problem with what Ed Harris play, because we always tend to whitewash. We get whitewash. Yeah. James Marsden is just the perfect white guy, so we get rid of him if we need to. But otherwise, I would actually say Ed Harris either in the general role, which is easy to do. Yeah, I think because that would actually remind me of Buffalo Soldiers, which I don't know if you've ever seen that movie with Joaquin.
I haven't. No.
Ed Harris actually plays like I don't want to say bumbling, but a kind of an incompetent military guy, which is a little bit against type, but it would work. But the other part I would actually have him play, probably I would have him playing the president of the United States, and he gets involved somehow a little more with the generals to report to him, and he's like ultra serious about it, whereas the general's a little more like he was in the movie kind of thing. But maybe Ed Harris comes and maybe the president goes to Olive Garden with him at the end or something.
Or he's on his red phone and he's slamming it down like in The Rock when he messed up the scenes, the deleted scenes.
President Hummel, out!
That's right. President Hummel. Oh my God, that would have been an awesome, callback Easter egg.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. I still want to see that happen sometime. Just him saying Hummel. Him being Hummel somewhere. I know he's dead. We know he's dead. We watched the movie, but it doesn't matter.
We can bring him back. We have the technology.
That's true.
I kind of went more zany with him. I just try to think of something that'd be sort of outrageous to cast him in. Mm-hmm. Okay, fair warning. I'm whitewashing a character, but I'd have him as James Marsden and I'm forgetting the actress's name. I just had it. Tika Sumpter, who played James Marsden's love interest. Yeah. I'd have him as Tika Sumpter's father instead of like I think it was her sister or her mother.
Right. Yeah, at the house. Sister. Yes, it was her sister.
Yeah, so I'd have him as her father.
Oh, you could be very disapproving. I think that'd be awesome.
I just try to cast him in like the most ambitious things. That's something that he maybe isn't like usually used to doing, but I just kind of want him in these outrageous roles.
He could be really intense still, but like I love
him being tied up at the end. They're like, God damn it! I like my car.
In fact, I actually like that better than mine, so I'm going to give you a thumbs up. And I think you win this week's Ed Harris challenge. So
I keep forgetting and I keep winning.
I know. How is that possible? I hate you. I hate you, son of a bitch. But anyway, should we move on to our next bit? The public defender. Do you want to tell us about public defender?
Yes, public defender is something we came up with. We figured sometime instead of a review, we might do something off the cuff, like make a top 5 list up on the spot without knowing in advance what it is. And we call it public defender because public defenders usually they're overworked, they're tired, they don't get enough pay, they deserve a lot more. And in this case, we kind of over exaggerate, the movie perception of a public defender, because we have nothing against public defenders in real life. They do amazing work, they help people. But in this case, we're like blowing this out of proportion. And the public defender is someone who comes to court unprepared.
They're not Johnny Cochran. They're not the six figures that they get all the team behind them and everything else. They're a little underprepared against the big wigs, so to speak.
And in this case, underprepared for the top 5 list that we usually do, or we do a top 6.
Yeah, do a top 6. We each throw in 3. So every once in a while, I'll come up with one, or come up with one and try to think about it. And obviously, I've come up with one, so I've thought about it a little bit, but I try to be objective and not think about it too much. So
I don't know what this is, so I'm excited.
So I will give you the topic, and I'll give my first one that I'm going to pick, just because I might as well just throw it out there.
Okay.
Top video games that you would like to see made into a movie, or Netflix series or something to that effect, some kind of media where you can consume it. And I'll tell you right off the bat, my favorite one, Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Of course.
Early, it's been rumored to happen, but that would be sweet, because that, like Christian Harloff has always said that it's his second favorite Star Wars story of all the movies and everything else, and it's a great story. I think I'd probably be better as a Disney Plus series if done right, but I love that idea. So off the cuff,
I'm actually going to pick one that already has a movie but I want them to continue it, because they kind of set it up for a sequel, and I'm a big fan of Warcraft. I played a lot of World of Warcraft back in my day, and I really love the movie. I know it's not considered like a great movie. I don't think it's a great movie, but I enjoy it so much. And they've set it up for a sequel perfectly. I would love to see more of that.
I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really judge on it. So, but that's a good
It's
one.
great. It's great.
Okay, let me go back. What else would I like to see? You know what? Actually, like to see. I don't. It's probably been like cartoons and stuff done it right, but a good proper Legend of Zelda movie could really take off of this fantasy.
That's something that's passed me by.
Right.
I've never played any of that, but I've heard enough of it.
Same as Mario, the same age as Mario, really, but it's a flagship of Nintendo. The only problem is there's so many different stories, and they all kind of like. I guess you could make parallel universes of the Zelda storylines and everything else. It's a lot of high adventure, a lot of Lord of the Rings style, but you can do a lot with. There's a lot of lore already built in, so I think it'd be kind of fun.
Cool. I'm kind of panicking, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'd have Worms, but make it like a Sausage Party type of Worms movie, like Worms Armageddon. Like have them like R-rated, cursing, like fucking each other, like having an orgy and like shooting each other. You know, you've seen Sausage Party?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yep. That is funny as hell. Oh man, that's great. It's back to me. Let me think. I don't know off the top of my head. I only had the two. Let me see.
Just come up with a game you've played.
Throw in the game I played. Just throw it in there. All right, throw it there.
Tetris.
Just the movie. I actually throw out this is kind of a weird one, a very weird one. I don't even know if technically it fits the bill, but I'm gonna date myself now. I'm totally dating myself. This is from the 80s. There was a computer game for the Commodore 64 called Enchanter. It was not even a video game movie. It was a text-based game called Enchanter.
I'm trying so hard not to make age jokes.
I know. I know. Go ahead. You should.
No. You go ahead. I kid.
I guess you know what? Actually, can't do it. It's not a video game. It was actually no graphics involved. So I'll throw out there, and instead I will throw out something like, it's a game called Rygar. Yes, Rygar. That's what I'll do. It was an 80s Nintendo game. Kind of Conan the Barbarian meets Star Wars in a way. A big adventure type movie. Kind of He-Man also in a way. It's a big adventure. Lots of like these weapons and magic things you use to like balls and it's kind of a cool thing. I'll go with Rygar.
I would go with Counter-Strike, but have Michael Bay direct it and make it like a SWAT, like the SWAT movie was supposed to be. It's kind of like a pretty bad but a sweet, enjoyable movie, SWAT with Colin Farrell.
Okay.
But I'd like have him make it more cheesy and have like the SWAT versus terror, something like a very maybe even real time. We just jump into these guys. They're going on a mission. They have to break hostages out. They're like seeing gunfire, sort of make a movie around that. I feel like it could be interesting because I love war movies and I like SWAT teams and stuff like that.
I'm all for it.
And I played a lot of Counter-Strike back in the day.
There you go. I'm sold. Totally sold. Oh, there you go. That's our public defender for this week.
We are halfway in. We still haven't gotten into the meat of the show.
I know, which is weird. Here you go. Let's get into it right now. Let's go into the brief of the week. And like we said before, we got Sonic the Hedgehog again, and we're teaming up against Pokemon Detective Pikachu. We got 5 categories. I'm not going to ask you this week. I'm not going to ask you we should read them off. I'm just going to read them off because that's what we do every week. And I finally got to the point where 13 episodes in, I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
You just spent 5 seconds.
I did, didn't I? That's so good. All right, so our categories where we're going to determine which is the better movie or which wins in this battle to the death. We have better lead creature, including the design, the look, the voice acting. Obviously, it's Sonic versus Pikachu himself. Obviously,
easy enough.
Next, we got the better human sidekick, James Marsden, and there's
Justice Smith.
Justice Smith. That's what I thought. Okay, the better villain. That's the third one. Jim Carrey versus Bill Nighy. Yeah, we'll go with that. Better lore and world building. Now, this is a weird one for me because, like I said, I don't know the lore, but I'm going to take it as it is and say, well, this is what it gave me. I can't compare.
That's right, because both of us were not like huge Pokemon guys.
Right.
But I know enough that I know the surface stuff and I know the names of the Pokemon and stuff like that. So I think we can do the category without like being hardcore fans. But I feel like we should say that we're not like really hardcore people. So if anyone catches some like factual mistakes, that's totally fair. We're not saying we're experts.
You can call us out, and that's fine. We do that, so that's fine. And the fifth and final category, I had a hard time describing this, but it's a better movie if you strip the IP. Like if you did not have a video game movie, can this stand on its own as a storyline or something?
That's right.
Without the flash of the video game. So that's what we're going to go with. Well, we get right into it because we are 30 minutes in. Why don't we go with better lead creature? Sonic versus Pikachu.
This is probably like the toughest one. I feel like the other ones I sort of had my mind made up.
Yeah, well, kind of.
They're both adorable. They're both like have snark about, like both are great. Both have great voice acting behind them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I think it was Ben Schwartz that did Sonic, and the amazing Ryan Reynolds did Pikachu. So in a way, I'd say Pikachu has the edge going in.
You know what? It's funny you say that. I'm actually voting for Sonic, and I'll tell you
really?
Why. I am.
Explain.
Because Pikachu is too Ryan Reynoldsy. Like when I watched Pikachu, I just saw Ryan Reynolds. So it kind of took me out of the Pikachu character. For a sec, I just kind of saw Ryan Reynolds' voice, and hearing Ryan Reynolds' voice, I'm looking for Deadpool. I'm looking for Green Lantern. I'm looking for Ryan Reynolds as anything else. It doesn't seem like it's a Pikachu voice. It just seems like it's Ryan Reynolds is doing Pikachu. Whereas Ben Schwartz, I don't know very well, and I just saw Sonic. And that was the tipping factor to me. Yeah. So they both were well designed, I thought, especially after the Sonic redesign. I liked how they looked. They fit the movies they were in, and they worked well. The design, the look was good. It just kind of came down to the voice acting, and I thought Ben Schwartz disappeared into the role a little bit more, but it was still just as good as Ryan Reynolds, if not better than Ryan Reynolds. So I gotta go. I'm going with Sonic.
I'm actually agreeing with you on the voice acting, because I do enjoy Ryan Reynolds, and I feel like he's the star of the movie.
I love Ryan Reynolds. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. And I was watching it. I was like, Ryan Reynolds could just be a voice actor, and I'd still love him. He like, if he retires from acting, just keep voice acting. Because it's truly great. But it's not only voice acting that I'm deciding on, and it's the look as well. And I know they changed Pikachu's look and made him. Is it him? Is Pikachu? Is it them? Because I don't think they have genders. What should you say? Them? What's the correct way?
I said
if there's no.
I guess you could say them. I don't know. I said him because Ryan
Reynolds. You can't call him it because it's like it's a being. All right, I'll just call him them.
Okay.
Because Pikachu wasn't furry. They are. I can't do this. I'll call it an it. It's easier because I'm gonna get
confused.
Right. Yeah, Pikachu usually is smooth all over. He's not furry. I'm calling it a he because it's Ryan Reynolds. I'm calling it a he.
Okay, sounds good. I always think
way too much time.
I thought Sonic was a boy. I think isn't Tails the girl? Isn't like the character at the end isn't a girl? I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think we'll call him he. And pretty much the point is that Pikachu wasn't supposed to be furry, and they made him furry in the movie. But I think it kind of worked because he's sort of like he's on Justice Smith's shoulders and everything. He feels like this, probably like teddy bear almost.
Let me interrupt you real quick. I just screwed up immediately. I totally just threw Tails in there. Tails the Sonic creature. I'm thinking Sonic for some reason. Pikachu has. I don't know idea what Pikachu is. Never mind. So let me cut back before everybody else calls me out of it. I just caught myself. I'm an idiot. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tails is in the Sonic verse. Yeah. But like I saw some like animation. What do you call them? I could tell that Sonic wasn't animated as thoroughly because there was times when I saw, okay, the lighting's a bit off. There was a few animated problems here and there. He worked though. He was a simple character, which I like. They didn't have to overdo him. He was pretty much taken from the video game, just like made him a bit more photorealistic. He didn't have to be as like photorealistic, but still like saw some errors in there.
Okay.
So even though you said Ryan Reynolds kind of overtakes the character and makes it too much Ryan Reynoldsy, I still go Pikachu.
Okay.
And also the look of him and the feel that he was more he felt more real, and you could tell like when the live action counterparts are touching them, that's a big part of how they come off on screen as well. So I'm going Pikachu on this. I think it was a more adorable character as well, even though I'm a big Sonic guy. It's weird.
Okay, I can't argue that. That's your opinion. Okay, so it's 1-1. So let's move on to the best human sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take this one first?
Sure. Yeah. I'm actually cheating a bit because I'm taking James Marsden and Tika Sumpter. Because if we just took James Marsden, I feel like we talked about it, he's the insert default white guy. He's like this good-looking guy. He has like his eyes look like Sonic, so I can tell why they cast him. He does everything. He's serviceable enough. He works for the movie. But when they bring in Tika Sumpter, like I'll say a big part, like what I hate about movies is when something fantastical happens, some creature or something is thrown into the real world, and someone sees them for the first time. Like usually, what Hollywood movies do is they make the person go, "Oh my god, this is outrageous!" Like they go nuts. Something like that happens. When Tika Sumpter is like, "Oh, this is so cool!" Like sort of, she's like, "Can you see me not overreacting? I'm not overreacting. There's a creature." And she's like on board. She wants to, because that's what I would do if I see like a freaking. This is called Sipsik. This is an Estonian animated creature. If it came into the real world, just like I wouldn't be like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna call the cops," or I would be like, "Oh, I'm so glad this actually happened. This is real. This is the best thing ever." So I know this. I will like went way too long on this subject, but I do love when people react the way I feel like I would react.
I get that, and I actually you won me over. This is the one I kind of torn with a little bit for the same reason you talked about. I think Justice is a great foil for Pikachu. He has some emotional moments. He actually has that earned scene at the end with Pikachu and Ryan Reynolds as his father. Definitely earns that moment at the end. But I do like the James Marsden and
I haven't said which way I'm ruling.
That's true. You haven't. I kind of thought you were going with Sonic. I implied. Go ahead.
I had to give mad props to Sonic on this because I feel like they deserved it. But I'm going Detective Pikachu again because Pikachu. Okay. Yeah, and you just started going into it. Justice Smith, he's not only he doesn't only have great chemistry with Ryan Reynolds and fit into the world. His age, he's like build, everything sort of works. He's almost like Ash in the Pokemon. I know that's not the character, but he kind of reminds him. He's like big, slender, sort of like this athletic guy. And he has these fun moments, but he has really meaty emotional moments. Yeah. And like father-son stuff, that always gets me.
Yeah.
And he was into the role. Like even if the movie was bad, you can tell. I always say this, I really love when actors commit like fully, even if they're in bad movies, which Pikachu wasn't. But right. He was like all in, and yeah, he was great. He was great. So I'm giving this to Pikachu.
Okay. I initially was giving it to Pikachu. You had started to win me over a little bit with Sonic, but I'm actually didn't get far enough for me to go back to Sonic fully. So I actually do agree for the same reason. Basically, the commitment and the end scene there with Ryan Reynolds was really touching and powerful. And the scene, actually, there's a scene in the middle with Ken Watanabe. When they're trying to tell him he's alive and he gets all like into it. It's a great scene. It's a really great scene. It's more than I could hope for in this kind of movie. Some would actually say it's like almost the wrong. It was too much for the movie in a way. For the movie it was, but I liked it a lot. So I'm going to give it to Pikachu as well. So we have.
All right. So we got there, and we're not saying score right now.
No. Best villain.
Best villain. Okay, this is the easiest one. I mean, this is Jim Carrey, like easily, no, like hands down, whatever. This is Jim Carrey.
It's supposed to be me. It's supposed to be me starting this time. We're going back and forth.
I'm sorry.
God damn it, Jarvi, get your shit together. You think you start the show, and all of a sudden now you're just taking over for it, mother.
I'm the captain now.
Oh wow! Look at that. Learning from Andrew Guy himself. Okay, I would actually say I want to preface this by saying that I love Bill Nighy in general. Bill Nighy. I
actually have in my notes the same thing.
He's a great actor. If he is in a movie, he's like Ed Harris. He will make a movie better because he's just that good, no matter what.
Underworld movies. Have you seen them?
Yes, I have.
Pretty bad movies.
Pretty bad.
He's an awesome villain.
He is great. He is great in everything he's ever been in. Love Actually, Shaun of the Dead, the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. He is a phenomenal actor. I love him. Plus Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey for the first time in a really long time, I can tell. So that just suckered me right in. I can't vote against Jim Carrey.
And it's crazy. He's doing what he did in the 90s and I think early 80s, late 80s. And it still works. It's not supposed to work.
Right.
It's like Will Smith doing his Will Smithy stuff in Independence Day. It shouldn't work.
But it does.
It does. It works. He's like perfectly cast as Dr. Robotnik.
So
And
sweet.
he truly elevates the movie. So this is, both of us were in complete agreement here.
Okay,
this is going to Sonic.
Fair enough.
I actually didn't. I didn't listen to your final.
That's okay. You're so excited. I get it. All right. So better lore and world building.
All right. This is probably the toughest one for us.
It's hard because we're not a part of the world, around lore or the world. So I can only take the movie for what it is. So if you guys are big Sonic or Pikachu fans and you happen to think that either movie does anything against the lore or against the world to try to build, then let us know, because we don't know. So we can only take it for what we see. We take the movie as it is and see how it builds up its world, how it builds up its lore, and see which one seems more inviting, I guess. More.
Just real quick before you get into it, like, it's not the lore that it takes from the games; it's how it makes up its own lore for the movieverse.
Right.
It doesn't have to be like on par with the games. It's just how it does in its own little world.
Right. I'm just saying. I just want to point that out. That's why we're not touching that really. And maybe
that's right.
Some people could be ppissed off about that. So maybe they don't like Sonic because it totally ruins the lore by making the rings portals or whatever. Which I had a funny way this off-air talk. I'm like, did that actually happen in Sonic? I don't remember that happening in Sonic. But I could be wrong. But with that being said, Sonic did definitely take its world slightly. Another thing I don't know, actually, the beginning of the movie where he's off in this world, is that part of the lore too? Is that actually part of the game? Do you know? Do you remember?
I did play some. I played it so young. I was like 5 years old, and like till I was like 8, we chucked the game out for some reason. I don't remember. But it's not even about that. If it's like, if it matches with the game, I just felt like they created this world. They gave us this intro, and it felt like you're thrown right into it. And there's like this owl. I honestly don't know who the owl was.
I'm just curious if it was or not. It doesn't matter anyway. But
and it's weird because I played the game, but I didn't recognize a lot. But it still made me feel like, okay, so I don't want Sonic to be on Earth for just some reason. We actually got the intro why he ended up there. So but I wanted more. I wanted a bit more of the intro, how it was on the planet or the world that he was on.
I agree with that. But it definitely did a good job taking its own reasoning and building from it and making everything seem like it worked out that way. Like it was worked out the way it was supposed to. So I did like the world building. But how about Pikachu?
Pikachu now, that's a rich lore.
And again, I had no idea if that's the way it is or not, but it seemed solid. Like it seemed like it had like a very deep lore already entrenched. Like they don't like try to explain everything. This is how it is, and this is how it is in this world, and you will know it and you will love it. Basically, and they got to hit you over the head with it.
Did you play Pokemon Go?
I played a little bit.
Okay, so you know some of it. This is pretty much all you needed to know. Is like you have these Pokemon, they catch them, they train them, and they fight them in the gyms.
Right, which is fine.
Oh, they train them in the gyms and they fight them in the arenas.
It's just the whole other parts of it, like the taking over of bodies and so that was like I don't know. But
that was all movie.
That was all movie?
I don't think they can take over the bodies. That was the movie building on it.
Well, then what gets your vote then?
I really like the way they built up Rhyme City. It almost had like Rhyme City, so in Pokemon Pikachu.
Right.
It almost felt like, like a PG version of
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, that's right. It had a lot of this feel, and one of my favorite things about the original Blade Runner is I feel like I'm in the world, like all the neon lights, the dark streets, like everything, and that's what Pokemon Detective Pikachu did perfectly. And the integration of all the I know who Mewtwo is just enough so I can be like, oh, that's like the most powerful Pokemon. I know who Charizard is. Like Psyduck was was so funny. It was such a fun character. So everything about them, like they can do whatever with the franchise now, because they've built up this world that feels real and makes you want to go there so much. So Sonic did exactly what it needed to. It was like a less ambitious endeavor, but Pikachu went all in and they succeeded.
I will agree. I think that I'm giving it to Pikachu too for exactly the same reason. Actually, in my review that I wrote, I mentioned the Blade Runner aspect of it because it kind of felt like that. It was a very immersive world that they created for such a surfacey kind of movie. Right? It's meant to be. They could have got really surfacey with it, and it would have been acceptable to a degree. But they really chose to immerse you in the world. Whereas Sonic, they didn't, and it's fine with Sonic. They didn't need to. It made for a fun movie. But I think if you're going to go with what lore got you and what lore were you immersed in more, it was definitely Pikachu. So Pikachu wins for me on that one as well.
For me as well. So 2 points for Detective Pikachu. And I think it's a great segue into our last category, which is if we strip away all the lore and the IP, we take away the established characters that Pikachu and Sonic are.
These are all new characters and new. It's like an original movie, basically, without any history, without any attachment, any nostalgia at all. Which one has the bones of a good movie?
I feel like this is a category that breaks these two movies apart the most, because Sonic is this very simplistic story that just has this hero coming up against a villain. And on the other hand, we have Detective Pikachu, which is it's a simple story, but it's more complex. Like you said, like the mind control stuff. We have the father-son stuff. We don't know much about his mother. We did learn that she died as well, but I'm sure that's left open for a sequel. You can tell that they're setting up. This is the first movie they want a sequel. So, but what I love about Sonic is the simplicity, and there was no social commentary. There is no woke message. This is just a kids movie for people to have fun, and for this reason, I'm actually giving this to Sonic.
Oh, you really? Okay.
Yeah, I love the sincerity of this, like the simplicity of the movie.
Okay. My initial thought was that Sonic still seemed like a video game movie, even when you take away the video game prospect of it. It still seemed like maybe for the same reasons, maybe that because it was just fun adventure and everything else. But I almost felt like it was like a big boss at the end, and it just seemed a little too on the nose for me. I thought that Pikachu, I think maybe it's because of the world, maybe because of the immersive world, I felt more like a universe could be created with these characters, with these bad guys, these creatures, and everything else. You create a whole universe, so you could almost create a whole IP just on the Pokemon creatures without anything to do with the game.
And it was a detective movie. It was like a sort of like a whodunit kind of, not whodunit, but it was a detective story.
Right, absolutely. So I think for that reason alone, I gotta go with Pikachu.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's the more common choice in this case, I feel like. But I don't know. I just love the way that Sonic didn't try to do too much. Like, give it a simple story.
I get it.
Bring the kids, just amuse the adults just enough.
I get it, absolutely.
And the bonding moments, everything. You don't have to have a Sonic. You can have another creature. It can be like a man meets a dog movie. And if it's simple enough, if it's sincere enough, I'm on board.
I won't argue against you. It doesn't sway me, but I won't argue against you.
All right.
So that is it. We're gonna wrap it up. Wrapping up this, we have a solid winner, by a score of 6-4.
Oh, that's not too much, though.
No, not too much at all. But it is a definitive winner. At least it's not tied up. You don't have to worry about fighting something for sudden death or anything else. The winner, Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Pika.
It does not surprise me. I did actually have it 3.5 out of 5 versus 3 out of 5. So I already actually picked it when I looked at my reviews. So it worked out exactly how I thought it was going to work out.
Yep, and I would say this is the second best video game movie that I've seen. I would give the first, like, I never got into the Mortal Kombat. Yeah, everyone loves it. I don't know. It just passed me. And when I was a kid, I need to rewatch it. I know they're remaking it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to watch the original, but for me, it's still Warcraft is number one. I know people hate the movie, I love it.
I've never seen
It's
it, so I can't argue.
yeah. I think you'll have fun. And
I will.
Pikachu is actually the second one. Yeah, and on rewatch I realized how great Detective Pikachu really is.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, I will say that I agree. This is probably one of the better video game movies I had seen. I have a soft spot for Mortal Kombat, even though that's a terrible movie. But you like it for not the wrong reasons. Even though it's so bad, it's so bad it's good. Those kind of movies. So, but that's where we are. We're gonna wrap it up now. I don't know what we're gonna do next week. We haven't decided that yet, but we have a couple of good ones that we've talked about. We've talked about a Kevin Smith one. We've talked about maybe doing I'm hoping to do it sometime soon, a Han Solo versus Indiana Jones.
Yes.
That would be good. Got to get some people to watch some more of the movies and go from there.
Maybe if Clone Wars wraps, we do it.
Good. We could do that as well. That's a possibility. All right. But we'll figure it out and we'll get back to you as soon as we know. And we'll go from there. Richard Eric Jarvi, where can they find you?
You just said it, Richard Eric Jarvi on Instagram and Facebook. And of course, go follow Action Industries on Instagram and Facebook as well.
And their Patreon. That's www.patreon.com/teamaction. Keep me employed as we introduce you to so many tiers of wonderfulness. The Action guys do a lot for their community, and it's just a great community in general. You can find me at Paul_DiNuzzo on Twitter. You can find us both sometimes at the Call to Action podcast as well with the movie Trivia Schmodown. If you don't know what that is, you should go find out. Look it up. It's fun. And I will also be soft announcing that I will be opening up my own YouTube channel as well. It's going to be called PLD Projects.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll be up. I'll have an introductory video up later. Actually, considering you guys are seeing this on Saturday, it should have been up yesterday, hopefully. We'll see what happens.
Oh, yes. I see what you did there.
You see what I did there? So we'll go from there. That being said, we love everybody. I'm going to salute you. Court is adjourned.